All right, we're back here at Cook Creek Square. I want a quick shout out to the guys who run the complex here. Another big thank you for all their support with our show here. And we've got a special guest. We have the mayor of Fraser, Colorado, Miss Peggy Smith. And she is here to talk about Fraser. And if you don't know Fraser, we've got basically one highway that runs through our county and it connects all the towns together. And so Winter Park Resort, a few miles past Winter Park Resort, we have Winter Park the town. And literally at the sign of the city limits is the beginning of Fraser. So Fraser and Winter Park are almost coexisting here. Is that correct to say?
That's an accurate statement.
And you are the mayor. So is that a full-time job? Is that all you do?
It's one of my many jobs.
One of your many jobs. Let's just touch on what all you've got, all the irons you've got in the fire.
Well, I am just going back to my real estate roots. I just left the resort after 4 years at the end of the year.
And what did you do for the resort?
I was the events manager for the competition center.
Oh, okay.
For 4 years, and then I did a little brief stint in the lodging department, and so that ended at the end of December, and I'll be going back into real estate, and then in June I'll be building a house. I'll be the general contractor on my 6th home, the 3rd one in Rendezvous.
Now, do you live in these, or just the contractor for developments, or what are we?
No, I actually live in them. I'm married to an architect, and he likes to do the build and move routine.
Design, build, and moves. Okay, I got you. So this is number 6. And how many years? 6 homes in?
Oh, we've been married for 34 years, so we've been doing it for a long time.
And in the Fraser Winter Park area for the whole time?
Well, actually, we started in Denver. We did 2 homes in Denver, and this will be our 4th house up here.
Okay. Wow, that's exciting. 4th house in Winter Park. And then when did you move to Winter Park?
We moved to the Valley in 1999.
I should say, right, Grand County, I should say.
County,
yeah, right.
So I lived in Winter Park briefly for a couple years, and then we moved to Fraser in 2002.
So you've seen a lot of growth and a lot of expansion and a lot of, basically just growth of the area here. A lot of things have happened over the last 15 years.
Yes.
All right, so mayor, how long have you been the mayor?
I was elected mayor in 2012.
Okay, so this is going into the 4th year. Now...
No, not quite. You were a math major.
Multiplication more than addition, yeah. 2015, I got so excited about 2015, I'm warping ahead one more now. Yeah, but no, okay, so 3rd year we're going into. How many years are you going to be mayor between elections? We'll start with that.
Well, it's a 4-year term.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so far, major changes? Have you had to...
Oh, it's been a very interesting tenure. When I first was elected, we spent a lot of time working on an annexation project, Byers Peak Ranch, which unfortunately did not come to fruition.
So a lot of work that, right, you do see a lot of your invested time doesn't always come to anything. So it can be frustrating, I'm sure.
So that was a challenge, but we've moved on and we have new board members, and so we're working together on our big thing is economic development now. We're trying to work with the community and figure out how we can make Fraser more sustainable from a business perspective and from just an economic perspective.
Sure. Now, do you wake up one day and say, I'd like to be mayor? Did someone kind of approach you and say you'd be a good fit for this, or how did this happen?
Well, I was on the board. I had been elected. I've always been a big volunteer, so this was... I'd been on the planning commission, and then I ran for election in 2010. Was on the Fraser board, and Fran Cook was retiring, and she had asked me if I would consider it, and I thought long and hard. I was working at the resort at that point, and had a very demanding job, but actually. Talked to some of the upper management, and they encouraged me to run. The resort is very strong on working with the community and volunteering.
Great to have their support too. Right, yeah.
So, and it's a challenge because it's a hard job. There's a lot of meetings, so you need to have your employer's support, or you have to be self-employed or retired otherwise, because there are a lot of commitments.
A lot of sacrifices, both during work hours and on your personal time, I'm sure, too. How did you get with Fraser? I mean, have you had houses in all the communities? Have all your 4 houses in the Grand County been in Fraser? Do you have more involvement with Fraser?
My first house was in Elk Run.
Okay.
And so when we lived here, and then Rendezvous opened in 2002.
And Rendezvous is part of Fraser?
It's part of Fraser.
Big subdivision in between Winter Park and Fraser on the right-hand side there.
And so I was the first resident of Rendezvous. We moved in November of 2002, and we lived in one of the little cabins.
Wow. Okay, and now it's a huge development. I mean, there's
yes.
a lots of winding roads and lots of houses there. All right, well, I tell you what, we're going to take a quick break here, and when we get back, we'll talk a little bit more about Fraser. But right now, we're going to run off and see what's going on out in the slopes.